Is everything in order, Madam Clerk?
Yes, everything should be in
Okay.
order.
Are there any questions from the commissioners? Commissioners Newell? Yes.
And I only had one question because I thought we asked about the hours of operation, and it said 8 till midnight, and then I thought I heard 11 till midnight. So which one is it really? Because the application says 8.
It's to midnight.
It's
Because
eight-
it's,
eight
yeah,
in the
it's,
morning.
yeah, it's 8 AM in the morning to midnight.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was a,
Location, they decided to open up earlier.
Oh, okay, okay. I just wanted to be sure we were clear because they were saying 8 and then they said 11.
yeah.
And we went back and forth, so, okay.
Anything else, Commissioner
Well,
Newell?
that's what I was going to say, because on the old one, we changed the 8 to 11, and so that's incorrect. They're back to the 8 AM,
Correct. Miscommunication over on their part?
okay?
But because of, sorry, but because of their location, they decided to have it open up at 8 o'clock.
So nothing else has been changed between the
Well,
two?
yes, for the members for the LLC, where they had Neum as a manager, he's moved up to the
member.
member,
Of the
where he should have been
Oh,
before.
okay. Other than that, Mayor, I don't have
Other
any more.
questions?
No.
Anybody in the audience have any questions on the same matter? Do you have a question, sir? No, okay. Do you have any questions of us, petitioner?
I do not.
Okay, Chair would accept a motion to release a license to the petitioner.
So moved.
Second.
It's a motion, a second, any discussion? Can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner McLeod?
Yes.
Commissioner Newell?
Yes.
Commissioner Gata?
Yes.
Motion carried. Chair would accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll be back.
Vice Chairperson Newell.
Present.
Trustee Gata.
Present.
Trustee Mills.
Present.
Trustee Stanton.
Present.
Trustee Arnett.
Present.
Mayor McLeod.
Present.
Like to get a motion and a second to basically recess so we can go to the board meeting.
Second.
moved.
All in favor of the recess, say aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it, we're recessed. Thank you.
Okay.
Why did you get down? Seems like it. Okay.
Okay, I'd like to call the board meeting of August 19th, 2019 to order. Can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
I'm sorry, Trustee Gata?
Present.
Trustee Arnett?
Present.
Trustee Mills?
Present.
Trustee Newell?
Present.
Trustee Palafis?
Present.
Trustee Stanton?
Present.
Mayor McLeod?
Present. Can everybody please rise? Trustee Gady, you want to listen to the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Gata. This meeting is being telecast live and will be reshown throughout the week on our cable channel. The reason why we recess the committee meetings, we're going to deal with some proclamations we have. We'll get on to President's Report, do the proclamations, then we'll go to the Planning and Zoning Commission meetings so everybody doesn't have to sit through 3 other meetings. So with the leave of the board, I'd like to go down to President's Report. That's okay with everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who has the first proclamation?
I do. Office of the Mayor Proclamation. Whereas the Village of Hoffman Estates and its Commission for Senior Citizens are committed to helping all individuals maintain their health independence later in life. And whereas our senior citizens in the village strengthens our community by having an important role in sharing knowledge, wisdom, understanding of the history of our community through interactions with children, youth, adults, and from other generations. And whereas our senior citizens experience the wisdom connected to us in the past and help us meet the challenges of the present. Whereas the interactions with family, friends, and neighbors to involvement in the commissions and volunteering, our senior citizens enrich the lives of everyone in our community. And whereas our community provides opportunities to enrich citizens of all ages through the following: emphasizing the value of including older adults in public and family life, creating opportunities for older residents to react with people of different cultures and generations through our village commissions and programs, and providing services, technology, and support systems that allow older adults to participate in social activities in the community. And whereas, as a village, we continue to show our support and appreciation for our treasured senior citizens who have contributed so much to our community. Be it therefore resolved that William D. McLeod, acting under and by virtue of the authority vested in him by the Constitution of the State of Illinois and the laws of the Village of Hoffman Estates, hereby proclaim Wednesday, August 21st, 2019, as National Senior Citizens Day in the Village of Hoffman Estates, and urge all Hoffman Estates residents and businesses to take time on this day to engage with our excellent senior citizens.
Chair will accept a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. We appreciate the great job that Lillian Clinton and her commission does for our seniors. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have a motion carried. Lillian, come on up. Want to make the round there? You got a picture, Lillian?
Right, stand up here.
Stand here.
I'm going to turn the proclamation purple. All right, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more, please. 1, 2, 3.
Thanks, Lillian.
Who has the next one?
I do, sir. Office of the Mayor Proclamation. Whereas the American Payroll Association and its more than 20,000 members have launched a nationwide public awareness campaign that pays tribute to the nearly 150 million people who work in the United States and the payroll professionals who support the American system by paying wages, reporting worker earnings, and withholding federal employment taxes. And whereas payroll professionals in Hoffman Estates, Illinois, play a key role in maintaining the economic health of Hoffman Estates, carrying out such diverse tasks as paying into the unemployment insurance system, providing information for child support enforcement, and carrying out tax withholding, reporting, and depositing. And whereas payroll departments collectively spend more than $2.4 trillion annually complying with myriad federal and state wage and tax laws, and whereas payroll professionals play an increasingly important role ensuring the economic security of American families by helping to identify non-custodial parents and making sure they comply with their child support mandates. And whereas payroll professionals have become increasingly proactive in educating both the business community and the public at large about the payroll tax withholding systems. And whereas payroll professionals meet regularly with federal and state tax officials to discuss both improving compliance with government procedure and how compliance can be achieved at less cost to both government and businesses. Be it therefore resolved that William D. McLeod, acting under and by virtue of the authority vested in him by the Constitution of the State of Illinois and laws of this Village of Hoffman Estates, hereby proclaim September 2nd through September 6th, 2019 as National Payroll Week in the Village of Hoffman Estates, and urge all residents and businesses of Hoffman Estates to join in its observance.
Chair will accept a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion is second. We do appreciate the professional payroll folks. We certainly appreciate our finance department that makes sure our employees are well taken care of. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have a motion carried. Rachel, you accept this? Okay, we'll move on to item 7, Planning and Zoning Commission reports. Chairperson Combs, you got the podium here.
For a while. First order is the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended for approval a request by Amelia Janisow, owner, for a 5-foot corner side yard setback variation from section 9-3-C-2-B to allow a 6-foot high fence to be 0 feet from the western property line instead of a minimum required 5 feet at 660 Perry Lane. I had misspoke. We did not recommend it. The voting was 5 ayes, 5 nays, and 1 absent. We didn't feel that it rose to the requirements of a hardship to support a variation. It's not a busy street. There didn't seem to be any need for it to be 1 foot off the sidewalk, so we said it was okay to have a 6-foot fence as long as it was pushed 5 feet back.
Okay, since the motion was turned down, does it matter? Does the first motion have to be to concur with the?
The motion could be whatever you.
Whatever you want. Who wants to make?
I have a question first. if we
Yes,
can
I do
that.
too.
Was it because it was a 6-foot fence versus a 5-foot fence? Or was it because of the 5 foot away from the property that it was not? I mean, it was,
It was going to be virtually a solid fence, and it was going to be 1 foot off the sidewalk, which is a 0 foot, right on the property line. And it had no topography that necessitated it to be pushed all the way to that point. And it wasn't a busy street. There didn't seem to be anything to support a hardship, which is necessary for a variance.
I mean, it seems like in the last few months, we've allowed this to happen many
No,
times.
what we have done is we allowed it only in specific situations where the person had had a lot of very mature landscaping and also hardscaping, that it would have been economically prohibitive for them to have had to have torn it up in order to push the fence back.
Else, trustee
Well,
Stanton?
I would like to hear from the petitioner as well.
Is
as
the
far as-
petitioner here by any chance? Would you wish to say something, or?
Yes.
Okay, come up to the microphone, give you your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Amelia Janisow, and I'm owner of property 660 Perry Lane. So the reason why we requested 6-foot fence, or we want to place 6-foot fence, is because currently we have only 4-foot fence chain link. And the main reason concern for us was safety of my child. He's only 22 months. This is corner lot. Everybody who's passing by, can see this little guy playing because the yard is very long. I can't safely go on one side of the yard because I'm just afraid that somebody, can within a matter of seconds walk into the yard and just take him. I just don't feel secure. I can't even go for 2 seconds inside home. So 6-foot fence would allow me more security and also more privacy. Because this year Comet came, they removed a lot of, I have pictures of it if you guys want to see. They removed trees, I'm assuming due to last year winter storms. And the neighborhoods just across from me, on the north side, they can literally see me. They're, they can see the whole yard and what we are doing in life. So we moved from Chicago to Hoffman Estates to have more security and more privacy. And if you guys care to see pictures, I have it. Her window is so close to my yard, like you guys basically sitting right now. No privacy, The safety is also a big issue. I don't know if you guys hear about this Ring device that people have on the door that serve purpose of the Ring and the video. A lot of people post like notification if something weird happened in the neighborhoods. And there was 2 weeks ago a man who posted notification about this guy who was watching their wife playing with the kid in the backyard. And because she felt weird and alarmed, she told the husband, and she started walking closer to the fence and was like, look, what are you doing here? And the guy covered his face and ran to the car. It's rather uncomfortable, you know. I don't want to have a situation like this. I am many nights alone because my husband is a truck driver. If somebody noticed that on a driveway there's only one car and I'm playing with the kid alone, I'm just don't feel safe. There's also concern of the poison ivy that my neighbor has. The poison ivy burned completely all my body last year because I was trying to remove the bushes from the actual fences right now. And it will be very horrible situation if my son will get burns from poison ivy. We told her about this and she just didn't do anything about it. So mainly those issues, you know.
Can I address what she said?
Sure.
First of all, the poison ivy she's referring to is in the rear of her lot. This is not the side that's in question for the variance, and we had no problem with her solid 5-foot or 6-foot high fence as long as it was 5 feet from the property line.
We wanna place in the future swimming pool because we wanna push the fence toward the garage. So when we're gonna move back the fence 5 feet, then I'm not gonna meet requirements for the swimming pool because I have to be 5 feet away from the garage, 10 feet away from the fence, as well as, if I remember correctly. So then I'm not gonna meet requirements again, you know. And also, my house, it's like rather on like a slope. So we're talking about 6-foot fence right here, but here on the slope, although it's gonna be 6 foot, it's not gonna be that high. Thank you.
Trustee Mills.
Which side are we actually talking about that the?
Can I show
No, I'm talking thank you, I understand. I drove by your house today, so I know what it looks like.
It's the west side.
Thank God we got
So
it clear.
it's this side over here. The current chain link fence is pretty close to the sidewalk as it is.
I think this is a non-conforming fence.
I mean, so we're only talking a few inches more than what was already there, correct? If you're looking at the west side of the property.
Yeah, you're talking about the height. We're talking about the distance back.
Right. What I'm asking, currently the chain link ends here.
Right,
And are you talking about this portion here along Princeton?
right.
And that it currently is where the blue line is on your plans. So it doesn't look like it's a 5-foot.
It's not 5 feet
No.
currently, no.
All right, so currently it's already into that zone, that area.
Right, it's one of
Okay.
those fences that
So there was no
were-
concern about it coming out to the edge of the house, of the garage, correct?
Right,
On
that's
the
not a
south side.
problem.
You're just strictly on the west side?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I truthfully don't have a problem with it being the extra few inches from what it currently is now. But if we hadn't even cited them before for it not being 5 feet back, because I drove around the neighborhood there too, and I was trying to look for other corner units. Not a lot of them have it anyway.
I have a
They don't.
picture. I just saw it the other day when I was walking with my husband, just 2 streets away from me. They
Okay.
have 6-foot fence, corner lot like
Oh, we
mine.
need you on the microphone.
This is 6-foot fence, just 2 street down from where we live. It's a corner yard. How come they were allowed to put 6-foot fence?
Why don't you pass that
Well, they're
picture
not
up to
saying
us?
it's a 6 foot, that's the problem. 6 foot's allowed.
But it wasn't moved 5 feet.
Okay.
We also have no idea whether a permit was even granted
Yeah.
on that. There's a
You
lot
don't
of
know. It's-
non-conforming
Right.
Yeah.
fences on
Yeah, we
this.
can't really compare it to that because we
Yeah.
don't know what the history
This is
is.
the driveway where my husband stands. We not
Okay.
want to obstruct the driver, like my neighbor view. And this is when they come and cut the trees. Look at my neighbor. And this is like, where's the privacy?
I guess the concern is also
Okay, we've
that
gotta
if we
have you
keep
come back
doing
then.
this, we're going to start just having an overall precedent, and that is not something that a variance should have.
why don't we just remand this back to the Plan Commission and see if they can come to some sort of resolution on this matter? Trustee Palafis?
Well, I don't see anything in the staff report about it being in nonconformance to begin with, correct?
Yeah, the current fence met the code at the time it was installed, so.
So it's grandfathered in.
Yeah, so it was legal, but it's only a 4-foot-high chain link, which is open.
Right.
The newer code, especially with the solid, actually, the old code for a solid 6-foot fence would have had to actually been 15 foot in.
Okay.
The board changed the code a few months ago to make it more lenient and actually allow it to be 5 feet off the property line with a solid 6-foot fence. So the current fence that's out there met the code at the time it was installed.
Okay,
But she
that
wants
answers
to-
that question.
Yeah.
Can we send this back? Can we remand it back at this point with,
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not
they're
sure
not
what the
changing
commission
anything.
would change.
There's nothing being changed by the petitioner, and you had a 5-5 vote. This is one of those that was a legal non-conforming use. The owner of the property would like to replace it with a 6-foot solid fence, and as the Planning Commission Chair said, the current code is at least 5 foot off the property line, and the board has had numerous of these in the last couple of years. And for the most part, where they were replacing an existing fence with a like fence, meaning like chain link with chain link or something similar, the board has approved them. This is the only one that I know of at this point that was been gone from chain link to a solid, and so.
Corporation Counsel?
Yeah, I have a question for Mr. Gugliotta. If this particular request is denied under the code, the resident could put a 6-foot-high solid fence 5 foot back?
Correct.
I'm sorry, say that again?
If the request is denied, she has a right under the code to put in a 6-foot-high solid fence that would be 5 feet back off of the sidewalk. I know Trustee Stanton was interested in the 5 foot and the 6 foot, so I guess she,
I was just concerned whether they rejected it because of the 5 foot versus 6 foot or not.
No.
Okay.
It had to do with the proximity to the sidewalk and the property line.
Trustee Palafis?
So how many feet back is the current fence?
6 inches.
There's a picture of it.
Yeah, the current fence should.
No, I see, but my
Approximately,
calibrated
yeah.
eye can't tell how many inches it is through the picture.
No, I drove by it today. It was about 6 inches.
Okay.
Trustee Gata?
Would the petitioner agree to then having the fence start where the chain link fence is, which is 5 foot behind?
No,
It's not.
it's non-conforming.
0.
I know it's 0 here, but I mean, as far as where the chain link, that's where the blue line is, that's, according to Mr. Gugliotta, that is 5 feet in,
No.
which was grandfathered.
No,
It's not?
No.
No.
It's about 6 inches in off the property line, and at the time it was originally built, that was legal. Then the code was changed years and years ago, and it was then called a legal non-conforming use, which you have when codes change. So when a new owner comes along, they have the opportunity either, when they want to replace it, to either make it legal, totally legal, which is to meet the code, which is 5 feet back from the property line, or
Correct.
request a variance, which is what was done, and that's what's in front of the board.
Okay. I was thinking that where this blue line was is where the 5 foot, but it's not.
no,
That's where it is right now.
but it's not in the right location.
But it's not,
According to
right.
code now.
Okay.
Anyone else have anything else? We do have a motion and a second.
No motion.
No.
A
No, we
motion.
don't.
Okay. Does someone want to make a motion?
The question is what are we motioning?
Yeah.
I'm motioning to uphold the
Approve.
To approve?
Plan Commission's
Or-
ruling.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion that we uphold the Plan Commission's ruling of the requested variance.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, there's a motion, a second.
So this would be a yes/no vote then?
Yes.
Yes means no.
So yes means no.
So if you vote yes,
That'll really confuse y'all.
If you vote yes, what?
Yes means it fails. Yes.
If you vote yes, you're
Yeah.
going along with the
Plan
plan
commission.
commission that denied it.
Okay.
If you vote no, you're going along with the petitioner who wants it,
Got it.
okay?
Well, we have a motion and a second. You want to poll the board, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata,
Yes.
trustee Arnett,
Yes.
trustee Mills,
No.
trustee Newell,
No.
trustee Palafis,
No.
trustee Stanton,
Nay.
and Mayor McLeod.
No.
So it fails, so now there needs to be a motion to
Make a mo-
authorize the variance.
I'll make a motion that we allow the variance for the 6-foot fence to be at the 0 lot line? Is that what it, okay.
Motion is there a
I'll
second?
make a second, but I have a question.
Go ahead.
Are we offering the one-off for this because it's a corner lot? Or because we're just allowing the grandfather effect to take place with the non-conforming?
It's up for you to decide, I
Yes.
think.
No, I'm just asking.
Typically, the board has done it for both of those reasons.
Because I know we have the corner rule.
Right.
So I was just curious.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, can you pull the board, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata,
Aye.
trustee Arnett,
Aye.
trustee Mills,
Aye.
trustee Newell,
Aye.
trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye, motion carried.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you.
It's confusing.
Planning and Zoning Commission recommended for approval a request by Robert Kirk, applicant, as representative of Sam Akmakian, owner, for a map amendment rezoning from R2 one-family residential to B2 community business zoning in accordance with Section 9-1-17 for the properties located 1180 and 119 Apple Street, with one condition. The vote was 9 ayes, 1 nay, 1 absent.
Chair would accept a motion.
So move.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion.
Well, first of all, I think you have, Eva, you read 119, it's supposed to be 1190 Apple Street.
1180 and 1190.
I'll amend my second.
Oh, there's a typo on the agenda.
Right.
Yes, ma'am. I'll amend the second.
I'll amend the second.
If we're having discussion, I'll
Yeah,
raise
go
my
ahead.
hand. The property has been residential for how long?
Years.
60 years?
1955.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything changed right now as to why it should be commercial versus residential?
There are a lot of people here that wishes to address you,
Well, that I understand.
including the petitioner, I would imagine.
Did the owner, the representative, indicate to you, or did his representative, Robert Kirk, indicate to you as to a reason as to why they wanted to rezone this property in the
They
first
don't
place?
think it's economically feasible to continue it as residential. And there's commercial to the west, and there's a commercial egress road to the south, but there's also a residential immediately across the street on the opposite corner.
Did the owner ever attempt, after he tore down the building at 1180, to build another home on that property?
No,
The property is still suitable to build on as a residential, is that correct?
I believe there was a realtor that testified at the planning commission and said that it is feasible.
Okay, and that would also go for 1190?
Right.
Okay. That's all my questions for now.
Anybody else up here have any questions? Yes, trustee Mills.
I just want to comment on these conditions. You know, we've got condition number 8, which says it's limited to office retail without a drive-through or restaurant.
Okay, that, I believe, is on the second part of the vote.
Okay.
The C part? This is just
This is just on the,
changing it from basically residential to commercial for zoning.
no, this is part of the rezoning. Because the question I had, the comment I was going to make, was it conflicts with condition number 3, where in that condition it states something about it would be suitable for a retail office with a drive-through and outdoor seating. I don't think that should even be in there if we're saying no restaurant. That was just the one concern on that, and I guess I would look for a legal opinion on that.
I'm not seeing it in the vote.
In number 3, condition number 3, it's talking.
I don't have a copy of the
Okay.
conditions on
Yeah.
here, sorry.
It's B3.
There. In that condition.
Yeah, 3 and 8
Yeah, I mean,
conflict.
if this were to
Yeah.
have gotten, to be
Yeah.
approved, I wouldn't want that in there anywhere.
And I can point out that at the, condition number 8 was added as a result of the planning
Okay.
commission discussion. They
So it
added
should have
at the
been
meeting.
adjusted in 3.
Right, they didn't
Okay.
realize to go back and amend 3. So you are correct. If
Okay.
it goes forward, 3 should be amended.
Yeah. Okay, just making that comment. All right, that's it.
Trustee Plofus.
If B fails, C is irrelevant.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay, we'll open it up. If no one else on the board has anything else they want to add, we'll open it up for folks in the audience. Can we put a 2-minute time limit on your remarks? And I would hope that everybody just wouldn't repeat the same thing over and over again. Go ahead, identify yourself for the record, name and address, sir.
Mike Larson, 1140 North Bluebonnet. We have a petition here signed by a number of residents that oppose converting any of our lots, but particularly these two, to commercial B2 use. I was going to ask how many are here to support to request that it's not changed. A hand show? Okay, so I figure you knew. So I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'll try to be concise. Parcel A, as you know, has been and is a residential neighborhood since its very beginning. And I just want to say that the neighbors consider the same commercial zoning restriction that was in the covenants in the beginning to be just as valid as today. Any variances we've made and allowed for our covenants all had to do with residential improvement, never about commercial. There's lots of reasons why giving this investor a B2 zone change is a bad idea, but I'm going to focus on traffic flow, okay? The last thing we need in that neighborhood, if you know it, is more traffic flow. Apple is a narrow, it's an old street. Ultimately, if we have a commercial building on the corner of Apple and Gulf, I suspect 75% of the people leaving that facility will end up going through our neighborhood, and this is why. If you're going west, yes, they'll go on Gulf, and they'll go their way. I'm sorry, east. If they're going east, they'll go their way on Gulf, if there's an in and out on Gulf. If, however, there's a backup trying to get on Gulf from Apple, if there's an exit on Apple, which there will be a backup, there's only about 3 car lengths before you get from that property to Gulf, they're going to try to find another way. They're going to turn on Apple, then they're going to turn left on Astor, and they're going to go to Ash, and they're going to get on Gulf that way. That's going to drive traffic there. If people are leaving that facility and trying to head any other direction, west, you can't go west to get off. If you go Gulf, you can't go west. They're going to go down Apple. They're going to turn on Astor, which is going right behind the Jewel, and they're going to make their way around Jewel. And that's a terrible place to send traffic. And if they're going south, they'll probably end up going down Apple.
Appreciate your comments, sir. We'll give somebody else a chance.
Okay.
Anybody else want to speak? And again, name and address for the record.
My name is Dawn Larson. I'm at 1140 Bluebonnet Lane, North Bluebonnet Lane. I've lived in the neighborhood for 20 years. I've also been a realtor for 12 of those 20, marketing 2 Parcel A homes. I want to share with you, I'm actually asked by many realtors, do you have anything coming up in Parcel A? It's a very popular neighborhood subdivision for residential properties. Stats on this neighborhood comparing with all of Hoffman Estates, which includes our $700,000 houses off of Ela. are West Hoffman, which is 5 and 4, 5 and $600,000 homes. The average days on market for all of Hoffman Estates is 123 days. The average days on market for parcel A, 60, half the time. The average sales price in all of Hoffman Estates, these are the last 2-year stats, $299,000 and some change. The average sale price in parcel A, $270,000 and some change. The highest sales price being $535,000. Not a run-of-the-mill neighborhood. As you can see, parcel A, even though it's the first and oldest, older than Hoffman Estates, it's not average. And it shouldn't have a problem selling a home. In fact, one at the opposite end of the subdivision that backs up to House of Brides on the corner of Basswood and Gulf recently sold for $235,000 to a family that is going to live in it and become part of Hoffman Estates. The petitioner states that the houses he owned were unrentable, when in fact, there's actually somebody living in 1180. The reason that nobody lived in 1190 is because he let it fall into disrepair. But he never put it onto the MLS for rent. If you take the average, the lowest priced rental home in Hoffman Estates is $1,400, $1,450. The lowest priced home in Conant High School District is $1,690 and actually was in parcel A. As to viability of the parcels, being single-family homes, I give you the 8 houses on Meacham and the 9th one being on the corner of Higgins and Meacham, recently built. Somebody lives in there and thinks that that's a viable lot. Out of the 265 lots in parcel A, 63 of the homes, or 24%, have been majorly improved, reconstructed, rebuilt. If the petitioner built a single-family home on the vacant lot of 1190 and upgraded the 1180 home, he definitely has a viable property, residential property.
Okay, thank you for your comments, ma'am. Anyone else want to speak? Come on up. Your name and address for the record.
I'm Joyce Alderwood. I've lived at 485 Hawthorne Lane since 1984. Thank you, Mayor, for recognizing senior citizens. I am one. So I hope you all listen to what I have to say. I moved into Parcel A in 1984 from Chicago looking for a nice, peaceful, quiet residential area, which is what I found and why I still live there. And I am opposed to allowing commercial development on 1180 and 1190 Apple. I was a realtor in the area for 20 years. I'm since retired. When I bought my house in Parcel A, I investigated and I was told that under no circumstances would any of the homes in Parcel A be stripped out, either singly or along Gulf Road or along Higgins to become commercial. Anything was going to remain strictly residential. One of the reasons I bought there was for the peace and quiet. When you start down the slippery slope of allowing a speculator to come in and allow a property to disintegrate basically into an unrentable property, unviable property, all he's looking to do is speculate. You shouldn't reward him for speculating on your residents in Hoffman Estates who are your tax base and who live there and want to enjoy the neighborhood peacefully and quietly. Thank you so much, and I hope you vote not to approve this commercial endeavor. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for Senior Citizens Day. Natural, I don't dye it gray.
Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Dan Greco. I'm at 1065 Apple Street. We moved in 2008. In 2007, Hoffman Estates had passed a comprehensive zoning plan, which we took into consideration when we decided to buy there and start our family. A plan is just what it's supposed to be. It's forward-looking, and it's something people should be able to reasonably rely upon when they're deciding where they're going to make the biggest investment in their life. In addition to that basic reasonable reliance on the plan that the village put forth, I'd look at the historical reliance on the use of the property. It's not like we bought across the road in Pingree Grove where there's a cornfield and you don't know what's coming. When you buy in that lot with those 50, 60-year-old houses, you expect them to remain residential. This evening, I did turn in to the clerk a written objection from an adjoining resident at 1180, I believe. Is it 1180 out there?
1170.
1170.
Anyway, I have submitted it so you can review it. I believe that may trigger the requirement of a supermajority two-thirds vote under 9-117T2. And finally, I just ask you to consider the mess that's going on at that intersection. I work across the street in the Golf Center. I come home every night, I watch that left turn train go through the red light and then stack up at the new light at Jewel. Every night, you could write 7 or 8 or 9 tickets, and that's just after people go through on the green. If you add traffic stacking up going the opposite direction, heading east, trying to get in the turn bay for Jewel, trying to get in the turn bay for the car wash, now we're trying to get in the turn bay for the coffee shop, and some people are trying to go home. And you got a Pace bus stop there. That's going to be a mess. People are going to be diving out of that left turn bay to get back into the traffic to go around and take their, right turn bay, to get back and take a right and get around the people that are stopped in front of them. I just think it's poor traffic management, in addition to the equities involved for those of us who invested in the neighborhood as a residential neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
My name's Dave Peterson. I live at 940 Basswood, and there's a couple things I'd like to address as far as the proposal by the petitioner. Last year, in 2018, his proposal was for professional office and a restaurant/coffee shop, I'm sorry. Now it's changed in 2019, and this is about the only thing that's changed, is for professional office spaces and the drive-through with the restaurant, as shown on the drawings. It's been submitted last year and this year. I guess with the offices, there is room in that design to take and make 3 offices by just removing a window and putting a door in place. According to Robert Kirk, last week at the zoning meeting, he is stating that the doctor will use all 3,200 square feet of that office space. My concern is he's got a practice in Long Grove. He's going to use all the space in Hoffman. Is he going to subdivide this into more offices, causing more of a traffic issue? And as far as 1180 Apple, I did go over there and we discussed this. There are a tenant in there. I talked to them. They are aware of the trying to go to a business. And once again, they've lived there for a long time and are raising a family. The next thing, if I have time, is the traffic that it's been addressed on Apple, but on Golf. The Golf Rose Car Wash has been there since 1965. There was no turn lanes. Now there's a turn lane, and as stated in the zoning meeting by one of the commissioners, you go by there on a busy day, that turn lane is blocked to go in to the car wash, which causes a problem with the exit. Now you've got a full turn lane where this is going, and you're going to have the same problem. And this is also happens at the mobile station on Golf and Roselle Road. The people coming out and want to make a right turn block the turn lane to get in.
Okay, thank you for your comments. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your comments.
You're very welcome. Thank you for your time.
No. Anybody else want to speak?
Hi, guys. I'm Jeff White. I live at 405 Azalea. I just have a couple quick things to say. I'll first mention that I bought into this neighborhood 6 years ago, and when I first looked at the house and decided to buy, I liked the neighborhood. As I've come to live here and meet the neighbors and experience kind of the ambiance of the neighborhood, I've really come to love it, and that's one of the reasons I'm, up here talking to you guys today. I'd like to just touch briefly on the Hoffman Estates Comprehensive Plan from 2007, because I thought there were a couple things that were really relevant to this situation. The comprehensive plan, I believe, sets out the strategies and policies for the next 2 decades. So from 2007, that would take us to 2027. It starts off with the goals and objectives. And the first goal is to maintain strong and healthy neighborhoods. And that's, I guess, what I'd like to encourage you guys to do today. Great neighborhoods are listed as a core value of Hoffman Estates. It also goes on to talk about maintain a high quality of life and being a great place to raise a family. And I think taking away something from our neighborhood would deteriorate the quality of our neighborhood. It also mentions that in the retail sector, the retail should be looking to improve aging centers. It mentions nothing about new retail. When it goes on to talk about land use and zoning, there's a couple of maps that I kind of like to show you that talk about the village will encourage rehabilitation and development of these districts. And it talks about the existing land use here, and you can see the zone of yellow is the residential and orange is the commercial area. And here's the map for the future, which shows the same thing, where the corner, all of this area, all of parcel A is still yellow. That's really all I have to say.
Okay.
I would like you guys to turn the proposal down. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. White.
My name is Jim Rapetta. I'm at 965 Ash. I guess everybody's concerned about a lot of the traffic issues and things that are going on, but I think that the real issue here is basically the rezoning of this property and allowing other properties down the road to suffer the same consequences. The last meeting that I attended here, when the gentleman who wants to switch this property over was asked about if he had done any research into how many other dental offices were in the area. He kind of made light of it, didn't really answer the question, but it was kind of a concern to me. And if you go on Google and you just Google dental offices closest to my location, I've come up with 9 within a 3-mile radius of that location. I do believe that this gentleman is only seeking to change the property here, not so much because he's really interested in putting a dental office in here, but wants to rezone it so that he can make more money off of this property when he goes to resell it. This kind of proves if you're going to open a business, the first thing you do is you look at other businesses in the area to see how they're doing it. It didn't seem to me like he had even, addressed that concern. So, in my opinion, I really don't think that that he's interested in putting a dental office in here. He's just looking to rezone and make more money on his property. And that's it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi.
Hi.
My name's Katie Garcia. I live at 1060 Apple Street. Our families lived there at that address since, I'm so emotional, but since 1958, so we've been there forever. Couple things that I would like to bring up, that as far as Sam and Mr. Kirk, they previously owned a LLC Surgical Construction that dissolved in 2014. They have previously bought properties for investment to convert them. I believe that this was the whole intention of purchasing these homes, is looking at a location that can be changed to business. And that Hoffman zoning code 9117E3 says that a proposed amendment should be for the public interest and not solely for the interest of the applicant. And I believe that it's in his interest to change this from a residential to commercial property. My parents also had at one point that they were trying to convert that side of Apple to part of the shopping mall. And Parcel A has covenants that have been in place since those houses were built. And under these covenants, residential lots can only be used for residential purposes. And the residents of our parcel are prepared to exercise all legal rights that we have to protect the character of our neighborhood. And it's not just the character, it's safety. Our street has no sidewalks, it has no street lights. There's 2 bus stops on Apple Street and up and down along Astor and Hawthorne if anyone cuts through those streets to leave the businesses over there. I hope that you vote nay today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak?
Hi, my name is Wayne Korecki. I live at 1140 Apple Street. My only concern really is, in the beginning, when he made his deal on why you need it commercial, is because the money value is just not there. The housing, you can't rent them. It's in a bad spot. I definitely disagree with that, but I am one house away from that lot on the same Apple Street. And so if that's his concern, and I get that, what does that do for my house? Now he puts my house into his exact position. What do we and the people across the street do? I mean, it just doesn't seem fair. It's a great place, a great neighborhood, and from my own opinion is, you know what, my house is my castle, it's my home. I go there to relax. I go there to live life. But I don't want to be in my yard, which I can see that from anywhere in my front yard, my backyard, my side yard. I can look out my bedroom window and see that house right now. And that's great, but I just don't want to see a big building there with all the commercial on it. And like they said, there is right on the corner, kitty corner from that, is a bus stop that's used from anywhere from 7 in the morning till 9. And then the kids come back around from 2 to 4. It's a very busy corner, and we have narrow streets. I would just hate for people to get hurt there. But the biggest thing is what does it really do for our neighborhood? It does nothing. I think it just puts the neighborhood down into a different look. That's all I had to say.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who wants to speak? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Board. My name is George Knickerbocker, and I'm the attorney. I'm representing Dr. Sam Akmakjian, and I would like to present our position on the rezoning before you. If you look at the perimeter of the property, to the immediate west is a car wash. A car wash, I believe, was expanded as a part of some TIF financing some years ago, but nonetheless, a very, very strong commercial use. Across the street is the Schaumburg, all commercial, all down the road. To the south is a commercial road that was bought by the Burlington Jewel Shopping Center, so that accommodates truck traffic. And that truck traffic goes from Gulf down Apple, and Apple is to the east. So in some respects, you can legitimately say that there's commercial activity on all four sides of this property. And when you look at rezoning, if you want to look at commercial versus residential, you look at where you want to raise a family. And I don't know if you want to raise a family with your front yard on Gulf, to your side yard on truck traffic, to your other side yard is a car wash. And then you have truck traffic behind it. All around you are surrounded by commercial uses. Now, we went to the staff, and the staff found this property not suitable for residential purposes. Staff made that recommendation to the Plan Commission. I mean, it's there. I saw it. The Plan Commission acknowledged it in their findings, and the Plan Commission, they had concerns, and we addressed them. Traffic on Apple was a main concern, so we suggested that there be left turn out onto Apple, not going right down Apple, but left going towards Gulf. Willingly put a concrete barrier there and signage, of course, to have that occur. That would eliminate substantial, if not all traffic, turning right onto Apple. The other thing we did is that they kind of objected to restaurant or a coffee shop being a lot of business there. So we then said we would agree to a limited use. There would be no drive-in, no restaurant, no coffee shop. That would eliminate traffic. We were trying to look at all the concerns of the Plan Commission and the residents to make it better. And lastly, I'll say that the Plan Commission voted in favor of this with these concessions 9-1. So I would respectfully, I understand the concerns behind me, but as a practical matter, I believe this property is best zoned commercial.
Okay, well, thank you for your comments. Anyone else have anything? Why don't you let somebody else speak, ma'am? Let somebody else speak.
Hi, I'm Betty Gear. I've lived in Hoffman for 53 years. I've watched growth. I live at 420 Astor Lane, so I've seen huge, huge growth in my neighborhood. I've seen 2 for sale signs on 2 lots on Roselle Road where former gas stations were. They've been on those lots for years and years and years and years. I've never seen full occupancy in any of those strip malls, not any of them. There's property that needs to be rented, and plenty of it, so much. I don't know why we think that we need to take something from a residential neighborhood and turn it into something that it was never meant to be. It was meant to be for families. Growing to greatness, Hoffman Estates, meant to be for families, nice big lots. And I know that this man is looking for more money because my backyard is right on Gulf Road. And it was one thing we thought about when we bought that house 53 years ago. There's going to be business that's going to want to buy our lots, and they're going to pay more for them. And so now the house is gone. I mean, somebody can't take what was there and make it better, the way so many of the houses have happened in our parcel. Brand new houses have gone up. They've taken what was originally built and they've added on. I've done add-ons in my home. I just don't see why we need to take something from a residential area and make it something that it's not, something that we have so much of it, unused storefronts.
Thank you very much for your comments.
I'm Dominic Padlow. I live across from those 2 homes that were supposed to be rebuilt. There is about this car wash thing. It was rebuilt like last year, and it increased flow. And although it doesn't exit on Apple, I notice people come down from the car wash to wipe their car off on our streets. And, you know, having our streets narrow, they just block their traffic. And whenever somebody parks on our street, there only one car can pass. And that's already a problem, and it's not even, there's not even more business there. And there's also kids, stay and wait for buses in the morning, and of course, there's a reason for safety too. And the lawyer mentioned barrier, and barrier probably will not work because there's the commercial drive they mentioned, it's an exit for semis, and they don't have any other way to leave to Gulf except on Apple Street. Otherwise, they will have to pass the residential, which are not designed to carry a semi. So there's no way to build a barrier to block the traffic to go, so people can leave to Gulf again.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
Mike Anzalone, 1065 Ash. A couple things with the other petitioner stated. Even if you put a left out only, people are still going to turn right. He bought those 2 lots knowing they were residential and the commercial was always there. So to extend the commercial on this point seems to be pointless to us. As you can see, everybody here has major issues with the traffic and the kids. I mean, we have a lot of kids in our neighborhood. And making that left out of there, that's going to be horrid. If you make everybody push left to Gulf, now you get, like they said, more backups on there. The other issues is the lot size, the radius for fire trucks to get in and out. It would be a nightmare for service vehicles to get in and out of that parcel if you look at it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Adrienne Bulbett, and I live at 1070 North Bluebonnet. One of the things that hasn't been addressed, and I would really like to see this, besides you voting nay, bounced back to have them address this, is snow removal. And I don't know how many of you drive east on Gulf, east of Roselle, but if you've ever tried in the winter to turn in on Apple off of Gulf, it's a mess. And that is with snow removal. Gulf and Higgins are the last ones to be plowed. I'm sure you all know that. And our snow removal from the village has been amazing the last several years. Kudos to the snow removal people. But that street is narrower than the rest of the streets, Apple, in the subdivision. And when they start plowing, there's one track. It's one car width to get through. It's very icy, so if nothing else, there needs to be a very specific snow removal plan, because that's going to be a nightmare. More so than it is if you've got cars turning to come out of a business onto Apple. And everybody's already spoken with regard to the turn lane off of Gulf and with the traffic, so I won't reiterate that. I would also like to say that I vote, and I will remember.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Brian Mikowski. I live at 220 Hawthorne Lane. I recently bought this house in 2017. The houses that were on these properties that they were talking about was not available when I bought. I invested quite a large sum into my property, redid everything, the outside, the inside, everything down to the studs, new wiring, new electrical, new heating, everything. There's nothing to say that I wouldn't have looked at these lots to rebuild the house that was there. The houses weren't on the market when I was looking, but I definitely would have taken a look at buying one of these houses if it was up. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Do you have anyone else? Okay. Oh, okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gunther H. Klaus. I am a resident of the house to the east of the planned commercial property. I'll reinforce previous comments made about people that are customers of the car wash stopping on Apple because they're right across from my driveway. On the first presentation made for the variance and the commercial property about a year ago, they had a in and out and a drive-through. And that is what killed the consideration then. They have modified it slightly, but the traffic will be a major problem. A month ago, there was a serious accident on the corner of Apple and Gulf involving 3 cars. They all 3 were damaged, couldn't drive, had to be towed away. One of the drivers or one of the participants in the accident went to the hospital. That isn't the first accident I've observed in the 4 years that I've lived in this house. I think you're opening a can of worms in allowing this property to be considered for commercial. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else?
I'm Keith Einecker. I live at 400 Azalea Lane. I want to thank you first for proclamations. In 2005, you recognized my parents, who are original 100 members, or 100 homes of Hoffman Estates there in Breslau. And last year, you took time out to recognize my mom's 90th birthday. Just a couple things. I know over time that there's been precedent, and that's the concern I have, is the precedent that's going to be set here. Because in 2005, there had been a proposal, and that said that they were going to turn 13 homes on Apple into commercial, and the village, Hoffman Estates village manager and attorney said, we're not going to do this, we don't do this because of the covenants, and they withdrew the request. So my request is to vote no, recognize that we don't want a precedent for other homes, like on Ash Road or at the other intersections, the homes back up on Gulf Road. We don't want them also turning later. So if you set a precedent, just like we talked about the fence earlier, we want not to have that set now. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm Sam Akmachian. I'm the petitioner here, and I heard all our neighbors' issues and concerns, and I've tried to address it in the best way as we can to limit any impact on the neighborhood. This property is really almost not part of that neighborhood. It's surrounded by four sides by commercial activity. It doesn't even, the majority of the frontage is on Gulf Road. In fact, some of the comments are actually supporting why it doesn't make sense and it's not feasible to use as a residential property. I'm the one where all the car wash people are coming through. I'm the one where the truck traffic is going all the way around. It's not them. And a lot of our neighbors who just came out and expressed their concerns about traffic, some of them are operating businesses out of their homes. I'm not here to make any issues out of that. And there are 5 homes on Apple Street that run businesses out of their homes. This property itself, I had a tenant in there who almost was fatally injured because a car crashed into it late at night, into the carport. The last tenant that was there was a homeless man who I had to clean his feces and urine bottles and everything else. And I don't understand how the neighborhood thinks that wasn't a blight on the neighborhood. I mean, I haven't had any issue. It's been very difficult to rent out that home. Who wants to, everybody makes comments, oh yeah, they're beautiful lots. That neighborhood is gorgeous. I agree. I love all those lots that are in there. It's such a unique neighborhood. These properties are not part of that neighborhood. It might have been designed that way 50, 70 years ago, but it has nothing to do with their neighborhood. It's not going to impact any of their residences, and I've gone out of my way to try to limit any impact it could have. I've offered to, it would have been much more economically beneficial for me to have a restaurant use it or a drive-through use. I don't want to do that to the neighbors. I don't want to harm them. I'm not here to harm them. And my use is going to be for a dental office. And a dental office, my appointments are basically 1 an hour. I mean, what traffic? I have more traffic from the car washes and the semi-trucks going around this property. So, the use that I'm going to be putting there, and as far as 9 dentists in the 3 miles? Or whatever that, I have 12 dentists across the street from me in 1 block in Long Grove. So, as far as the use goes, there is a need for a dental office, and, there are a lot of dentists, I was going to say unfortunately, but there are a lot of dentists, just like McDonald's. I mean, they're everywhere, right? But surprisingly, it's not a saturated market. And our, my type of practice isn't one where, it's high volume. Like I said, the very minimal traffic. It would be ideal commercial use over there. And as even like I said, the staff even recognizes that there's no feasible residential use there. I mean, it's easy to say for a lot of people that, oh yeah, the lot's beautiful. We look at it. It can be sold for, for residential. Let's be honest. Who wants to live next to the car wash? Any of you guys want to build? I'll build a house for any of you if you want to sign the contract.
Thank you for your comments, Doctor. Your time's up. Thank you for your comments. No. 1 bite at the apple for everybody was the way it is. Yes, you want to speak, ma'am?
My name is Anne Vanderlinde. I live at 1020 Apple Street. Couple of points. I'm not really sure why we're discussing change of use before egress and ingress to the site has been established. If you can't get in and you can't get out, that's Department of Transport Safety that they've approved, then why do you even want to put a commercial site on there? That's my first question. My second question is, living on Apple Street, only on Sunday, we had a full car transporter, and I hope that translates. But a truck full of cars drive the length of Apple Street. Apple Street's a residential area. What is that truck going down there for? If it goes down there now and you put a commercial property on there, what's to stop more cars going down there? I suppose I don't understand the logic that this permission is being viewed at. We grant an office building and retail store. Now, what's to stop the owner of the property, once he's got the permission, selling it on to somebody else? He wants to put a dentist office in there, but he lives in Long Grove. Long Grove to Schaumburg, quite a drive, as far as I remember. Who's to say he's going to actually drive that? If he's got an office in Long Grove, he's not going to drive to Schaumburg every day. So he's going to sell it on to somebody else, and they're going to do what with it? So what's the promise that if you grant this change of use, it's actually going to stay that way, and it's not going to end up as something else, and put a lesser value on the homes that we have built with our families in that area? I really appreciate your consideration. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? If not, we do have a motion, a second, and the, yes, Trustee Palafis.
Chairwoman Combs, am I correct? You voted no?
Right.
Could you explain why?
Because I believe that once you start making the corners commercial, that it's going to ruin the residential nature of the whole street. And we have listened to these people on many occasions in the Burlington hearings and that, and they've been through a lot.
In your tenure, we actually have the previous two chairs of the Planning Commission. Have we ever changed a residential lot to a commercial lot that empties on a residential street?
I don't remember that. Gary, do you?
Never.
Yeah.
So this would be the first time we would propose such
As
a
far
thing?
as I know.
Okay, that's all.
Okay. We do have a motion, a second, and the motion is to concur with the finding of the Planning Commission, which was positive. So if you concur with the change in zoning, you would vote aye, yes. And if you disagree, you vote no. So this is actually a yes, where a yes is a yes and a no is a no. We're tracking. If there's no other comments from the members of the board, you want to poll the board, Madam Clerk?
Sure. Trustee Gata.
Okay, so now if we vote yes, then we're voting what the,
Petitioner is asking.
Petitioner wants.
what the petitioner wants. If we vote no, then that's what the planning and the zoning.
No, planning and zoning voted yes.
Planning and zoning voted yes.
Okay.
If you vote no, it fails.
No, you're supporting the residents. If you vote yes, you're supporting the petitioner.
There you go.
No.
Trustee Arnett.
No.
Trustee Mills.
No.
Trustee Newell.
No.
Trustee Palafis.
No.
Trustee Stanton.
No.
Mayor McLeod.
No. Motion carried. We have 7C now.
It doesn't go.
It doesn't go.
7B.
7C is gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, okay.
So we're on to D.
You're at the D.
Because the plat we received for this property was not received, it had changed, it was received without correct signatures, and because
You talking about D now?
I'm talking
D.
about D, E, and 8C.
Oh.
7, D, E, and 8C. Staff is requesting they be deferred to the next meeting.
I'll make a motion to defer till the next meeting.
Second.
There's a motion second to defer. Any discussion? Seeing none, can you pull the board, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye, motion carried.
Is E also deferred then?
Yes.
E was also deferred.
D, E, and 8C.
HC,
Okay, so that was the motion?
C.
yes,
Okay.
those are all deferred. So, now
Sorry, I wasn't more clear about that.
I'd like, Chair has have to motion to recess the board meeting until after the committee meetings and take a 5-minute break.
I'll make a motion to recess.
Second.
Second.
Motion a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have a motion carried.
Committee recall to order the Finance Committee from our recess for today, August 19th. Could I have a roll call to reestablish quorum, please?
Chairperson Palafis.
Present.
Vice Chairperson Newell.
Present.
Trustee Gata.
Present.
Trustee Mills.
Still here?
Trustee Stanton.
Present.
Trustee Arnett.
Present.
Mayor McLeod.
Present.
Thank you. We have quorum. No one left. We have approval of minutes for July 22nd, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carried. We have 3 items under new business. The first being 2 parts. Number 1A is a request approval of the FY 2019 mid-year financial review. And 1B, which is the request approval of an ordinance to amend the 2019 budget as a result of the mid-year financial review.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. I'm assuming for both A and B.
Yes.
Yes.
Any questions, comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Item number 2 is a request approval of a 5-year agreement with Ticketmaster of Chicago, Illinois, to provide ticketing services at the Sears Center Arena.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
Sure, plenty.
Go ahead.
Why are we doing this?
Ben, I don't want to take away your thunder. Why don't you go ahead and...
That's what I want to hear.
Ultimately, it's going to make more money, but Ben's going to tell you why.
Yeah, it'll make more money than our current deal. We think it'll have a positive effect on booking. Ticketmaster is merged with Live Nation, so we think ultimately we'll see more concerts in the building possibly. So that's one of the primary drivers of this decision, but more money also plays into it.
Do we know this for a fact?
We don't. No, the more money we do. Yeah, that's factual.
I mean, you've had conversations with them in the past, right?
Due to monopolies and antitrust, they can't make any promises. But if you recall, we had a meeting a couple years ago where I laid out the business model with some of the bigger promoters, and we know for a fact that ticketing fees is a large part of the Live Nation business model. So if you're going to get Live Nation concerts, having their ticketing company in-house is advantageous. So there is nothing you can get in writing, but I believe it puts us in a better position. It's one of the barriers that I think gets in the way when we're trying to get more content from this particular company. So, you know, I'm not saying we're going to change and tomorrow we're going to be sold out of events, but I do think it helps our case. I think there's a lot of promoters that maybe will give us a second look with Ticketmaster as our ticketing system. It's a hunch I have, but yeah, it is a risk. Now, I'll say this, the Pacquiao deal that we've had has been great. This new one with Ticketmaster makes us more money. I will also say that data, this is sensitive, but customer data is one of the primary ways people market to people to get them to buy tickets, right? It's a sensitive subject with privacy and everything, but radio, TV, billboards are not as effective as they used to be. Ticketmaster has the most amount of customer data in the city or in the market. We get access to that data. Obviously, we don't learn everyone's name and where they live and the name of their pet, but we get enough data that we can leverage it to market to them more effectively. Under Paciolan, you really don't have that advantage. That's not their business model. So as we see the trends in advertising and we realize that a TV spot, as you guys, we all watch TV still, but not as much we used to. A TV spot doesn't move as many tickets as it used to. Radio spots are not as effective. Billboards are not as effective. Customer data and leveraging that to target people is what sells tickets. Ticketmaster has that capability more so than Paciolan. So it's not just the booking, it is trying to kind of keep up with the times, and this is where advertising is going, especially with concerts. It's learning your customer and kind of finding them where they live, and it's no longer, back in the day, I remember you could go on sale with a concert, 7 TV spots and 8 radio spots, and you were good. That's not how it works anymore. So it's a little bit of marketing, it's a little bit of booking, and then it's a little bit of the financials. I will say this, Paciolan was great to us. I have nothing bad to say. We have had record ticket sales, not one bad incident, great customer service, but in the Chicago market, Ticketmaster is the main player. I want to say in the state of Illinois, is it one venue is one venue is non-Ticketmaster in the state.
Besides us.
Besides us.
Besides us.
Yeah, we're number 2.
Yeah, so and it's not to say it's right or wrong, but if people think if you're a live entertainment consumer, you're very used to going to Ticketmaster and their platform. I think that puts us in you're fishing where the fish are when it comes to marketing. I like that. So I'm not going to say we're all going to enjoy this huge uptick in ticket sales. I think we'll see a bit of an uptick. I do think we'll book a couple more shows over the course of the 5-year term. And I think most importantly, as marketing becomes more challenging, as the media landscape gets more diverse, you need a company that has customer data, and that's what Ticketmaster provides. So it's a little mix of everything. And yeah, there's a
I
risk.
agree with your theories, by
Yeah.
the way. I just wanted to hear it from you.
Yeah.
Would this help Windy City Bulls, do you think, as well, selling more tickets?
I think I think they think it will. I don't know if necessarily have the substantial impact they're hoping, but I think when we mentioned it to them, as we have to by contract, they were pleased. So I think they're perfectly happy with PAC as it is today. But yeah, Ticketmaster, I think, got them excited. Ticketmaster, yes, has more marketing resources. So any marketer is going to think, yeah, I think I'm going to see an uptick in tickets.
Okay.
But it's only one piece of the puzzle for obviously the team. So,
Right.
it helps. Other questions?
Trustee Mills?
When you put in here that the ticket fees are 13% lower, is that the cost to the consumer?
Yeah, so each ticket, the way the business models work for both companies is the ticketing system is free to us. They make their money by charging the customer. So if they're cheaper, the customer pays less. Now, that being said, we do put our own margin on top of that ticketing fee. That's very common within the industry. So we make some of the money as well. But the cheaper we can keep the ticketing fees, the cheaper we can essentially extend those savings to the customer. So when ticketing fees go up, people pay more. So we were very pleased with both proposals. It'll help us certainly make more money or have the option to, essentially pass the savings on to the consumer. So that helps, especially if people start their professional sports, especially baseball and the NFL, have seen that customers are pushing back. The price of concessions and parking and ticketing fees is getting too much. So we want to be cognizant of that, and if we have to, make an adjustment if we see that people don't want to buy tickets because they don't like the fees. We've not seen that. We try to keep our fees lower than the rest of the venues, but the cheaper they can be from the vendor, the cheaper we can keep it, the consumer-facing
No, I
fees.
agree. I agree. I think you're as Trustee Stanton said, I agree with what you're saying about possibilities. We talked about that for years, about having that Ticketmaster name out there, because it'll get our name out in front of people.
Yeah, if you guys recall, and it's in the memo, that we were only Ticketmaster for 18 months. So the majority of our lifetime with this building has been a Paciolan building, which, again, we've had nothing but good experiences, but I think we need to answer the question, what happens if we go to Ticketmaster? What happens when all those eyeballs see the building listed with the United Center and Allstate Arena and Chicago Theater? So I can't predict what's going to happen. I think it's all positive no matter what it is.
Well, not just that, they don't just have to go to our website now. They can go to Ticketmaster's, thanks,
Right.
immediately and find it. So that's going to make a difference. Thank you.
Right. The amount of people stumbling upon
Yeah.
the venue will be much higher. I don't want to oversell it by any means, but I think it's going to be positive. It's just to what degree remains to be seen. And I would think we'd see something in the next 18 months in terms of an uptick in ticket sales, additional bookings, or just a higher awareness that the building exists. I think, yes, right now they have to go to our website. That's the main place you find out about this venue. With Ticketmaster, they can just be looking for a Bears game or for something else, and they're going to stumble upon the events we have there. So I think that's hugely beneficial to us.
Now,
So,
it's
yeah.
a 5-year agreement. Do we have a clause in there that if something does go wrong, we can get out of it before that
We
5
don't, not
years?
currently. I mean, with Ticketmaster, I don't have those concerns of something going wrong.
No.
Our main thing is a transition, making sure it happens on time and that none of our customers get inconvenienced in any way. But I mean, they have a regional office in downtown Chicago. We have a very good relationship. It'll go smooth from a technology and transition standpoint, and I think the customers will enjoy the experience once they get to the website because they put a lot of work into that.
Yeah, thanks for looking into that.
Thank you, Trustee Mills. Your pen almost hit our lawyer. Just saying.
That workers' comp?
Yes, it could be, and a lawsuit. Any other questions? I would like to tell the committee a couple of things. Number one, we met with John Page, who most of us know, maybe except for Karen and Michael. He's the president of Spectra. So he's Ben's boss's 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 boss somewhere. And he even recommended to us late last October and encouraged us to RFP because he knew, as the industry changes, there's some better deals out there. And secondly, like Ben said, both deals were really good. And we had meetings with not only Ben, but also Dan Guza, and then in the end pulled in Craig because the marketing aspect does have a more of a valuation with today's data analytics and the way they, try to hit customers. And then Ben said something in one of the meetings, which I don't know if you mentioned it tonight or maybe a little around it. It gives him and the arena the opportunity to do a big splash into essentially the Ticketmaster market, where we haven't been in quite a long time. So I think it's a good proposal, and I do think even if we sell 3% more across the shows that aren't sold out, right? Because the sold out ones will sell out. We'll actually see a really strong monetary value, stronger than we do today. Trustee Newell?
Just one quick question. It says it's a 5-year term. Is there anything in there, unless I missed it, where we extend it for a year or two or anything like that? Or no?
Right now, it's just a 5-year term. I also would like to point out that we've attached a term sheet. If there's a positive vote tonight, then we'll bring an actual contract or agreement back September 3rd to the village board meeting. So that'll have all those points in a standard agreement. But at this point, we have not talked about any kind of renewal, although obviously I can't imagine they wouldn't be interested in renewing with us.
Yeah, I was just curious. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Comments from the audience? Just kidding. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Item number 3 is a request authorization to award a contract to Webmark Doors of South Elgin, Illinois, to replace doors at the Sears Center Arena in an amount not to exceed $38,412.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions? Comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carried. Reports are information only. The first is the Finance Department monthly report. Any questions or comments? Having none, we will accept and receive that report. Item number 2 is Information Systems Department monthly report. Any questions or comments about IS? Having none, we will receive and file that report. And last but not least, only because Ben sat down, is the Sears Center monthly report. Any questions or comments for Ben about his report? Just kidding. All right, having none, we will receive and file that report. President's report.
I'll wait for the board meeting.
Thank you, sir.
Chairman.
Nothing in other. We have no items in review. I will accept or entertain a motion and a second to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carried. Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Immediately following the Finance Committee, which was just now, we have the Public Works and Utility Committee for August 19th. May I have a roll call, please?
Chairperson Newell.
Present.
Vice Chairperson Gata.
Present.
Trustee Palafis.
Present.
Trustee Mills.
Present.
Trustee Stanton.
Present.
Trustee Arnett.
Present.
Mayor McLeod.
Present.
Okay, we have a quorum. Next item would be the approval of minutes from July 22nd, 2019.
So moved.
I'll second.
I have a motion second. Any corrections, deletions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
No nays, motion passed. Under new business, item number 1 is request authorization to award contract for the abandonment of Well 9 to Water Well Solutions, which is the low bid out of Elburn, Illinois, in an amount not to exceed $98,309, and rejection of all bids for demolition of the above-ground facility at Well 9 site.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Question, trustee Stanton?
The original part that we have for water well solution, I come up with 99,200, but I assume that the extra 1,000 that we're getting back is because of the, it's for the well abandonment only, and there was some kind of a deal, I guess, going, because part of the other one was for the second part?
We contacted Water Well since the portion for the abandonment only was much lower than municipals. But there were some portions of water wells in the first item that if they're not doing the demolition, they don't have to do. So there was a letter attached from Water Well Solutions basically agreeing to reduce it to $98,309.
So we're saving about $900.
Yeah.
Now, the other part is, we have, for municipal well and pump, for the second part, $68,320 versus water well solution, which was $124,750 for their part. Why don't we, is it not possible or feasible to split up the two companies, to have one do one and the other do the other part?
No, both of these companies are they're well companies, so they're making their money on the well abandonment part. That's why we saw such a discrepancy with the demolition and the site restoration part, because these companies just don't do it. So what our consulting engineer recommended was that we abandon the well, which we're required to do by the end of September by the EPA. We get that part done, and then we just go out and bid the demo out separately to demo companies. And they're estimating that we'll get a much better price than municipal gave us.
Okay.
And Water Wells was so high because they didn't really have a lot of time with the bid, and like I said, they don't have a lot of experience, so they just baked a lot of risk into their price. They just threw a bunch of money at it and did that. So we'll have to hope that works out. But going to municipal, just saying, hey, can you just demo the building for us? I don't even think that they would be interested in that.
Well, we'll find out when you put it out to bid again.
We will.
Trustee Mills?
So, in layman's terms, by abandoning this well, how does it affect anything?
Currently it's an emergency backup well. It was an old well that used to supply the village with water. We've kept all of our old wells as a backup emergency supply should something happen to our Jawa feed from Chicago. Since we've been on Jawa, we've not had an interruption that, yeah, knocking everything. We've not had an interruption that was long enough to where we would have to trigger the backup wells. There are additional backup wells up north to supply North Hoffman with water. Those two would not be enough to supply the entire North Hoffman for an extended period of time. So as we wrote in the agenda item, we are currently, and we have been for about a year and a half, pursuing an interconnect with the Village of Palatine, who is very interested in pursuing it as well through the Little City property. And we had a recent meeting with some board members from Little City, and they were all on board since we would be upgrading the water mains between us and Palatine, upgrading the water mains through that complex. So it benefits them as well. So it benefits all three municipalities. And Palatine gets their water from the Northwest Water Commission, which is from Lake Michigan, but it's the straw out of Evanston. So if something were to happen to Jawa, we would have a redundant water supply.
Trustee Mills, I spoke to the executive director of Little City today, and they've already reviewed the potential agreement between the three parties. They're on board, and they forwarded it to the village manager of Palatine, whose attorney is handling the first draft, and we'll soon get it to our legal. So it's moving.
All right, thank you.
Trustee Palafis?
Could we ever make the north section of Hoffman primarily dependent on the Palatine feed? Not that we'd want to, I'm just saying, could we?
It would be a violation of our Jawa member agreement. We have to take 100% of our water from Jawa, and Jawa has to take 100% of their water from Chicago unless it's an emergency.
And we just lengthened that agreement, didn't we? Like by 10 years?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Just wondered.
Okay. All righty. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
No nays? Motion passed. Item number 2, request authorization to award contract for engineering services for relocation replacement of a 16-inch water transmission mains along Huntington Roads between Mud Hank Road and Lakewood Boulevard to H.R. Green, which is out of McHenry, Illinois, which is the low qualified proposal, in an amount not to exceed $62,904.
So moved. I'll second.
Okay, so we have a
We
motion
need
and a
this.
second?
We need this.
Yeah.
Very bad.
Seeing no questions, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
No nays, motion passed. Under reports for information only, we have one which is Department of Public Works monthly report. Do we have anything to add, Mr. Neville?
Just real quick, we had our recycling extravaganza this past weekend. The weather held out for us, which was good. The car count was a little bit down from years past, but the nice thing is most of the cars, the estimate about 70% of the cars were packed in the first hour and a half of the event. So I guess towards the tail end, it was kind of hit or miss as far as cars go. So we're going to take a look at where we were and maybe reevaluate and maybe do some hour changes and that type of stuff. Moving forward, but very successful again. Collected a whole bunch of stuff, and I'll get the actual numbers once they've
Just gonna ask,
once
okay.
they're shipped back, and we'll get the numbers back. But it went very well.
Awesome. Good job, you guys. Trustee Palafis?
Just one comment. Actually, I had two. I was going to thank you for the good work on the recycling event, but I met a gentleman who said that he found a Hoffman Estates leak and reported it, which was partially true. He was in Hoffman Estates. It was just the Jawa tanks. Apparently, water was like, it was or the geyser, it was just going crazy. But thought I'd let you know. We have some good residents out there that like to report stuff pretty fast.
Okay, so good job on the recycling event. Thank you for doing that. And then we will take the report and receive and file it. The other report is Department of Development Services Monthly Engineering Report of the Transportation and Engineering Division. Do we have anything to add? Or
Nothing to add.
nothing at the time? Okay, so then we will receive and file this report. President's report?
I'll wait for the board meeting.
Okay,
Madam
thank
Chair.
you. We have nothing under other or items in review. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
No nays, motion passed. We are adjourned.
Yes, we'd like to call the Public Health and Safety Committee in the Village of Hoffman Estates on August 19th, 2019. May I have a roll call, please?
Chairman Gata.
Present.
Vice Chairman Palafis.
Present.
Trustee Newell.
Present.
Trustee Mills.
Present.
Trustee Stanton.
Present.
Trustee Arnett.
Present.
Mayor McLeod.
Present.
Thank you, and we have a quorum. Number 2, approval of the minutes, July 22nd, 2019.
So moved.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any corrections? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Under new business, we don't have. Under reports for information only, number 1, Police Department Monthly Report. Chief? Nothing to add. Received and filed. And number 2, Health and Human Services Monthly Report. Nothing to add. Any questions up here? None. Number 3, Emergency Management Coordinator Monthly Report. Received and filed. And number 4, Fire Department Monthly Report. Chief? Nothing to add up here? Yes, trustee Falafis?
You're not going to read any letters? Just asking.
I did not have any
Okay,
put here.
just
right?
checking.
But I'll tell you this,
No
though.
tabs.
If I would have, there's no question I
Okay,
would.
all right,
To
just
praise
checking.
the police department and to praise the fire department, I'm for it 100%.
All right.
Gentlemen, thank you for all you do. Did that answer your question?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Okay. Let's see, received and filed, President's report?
I'll wait for the board meeting. Mr.
Okay,
Chair.
thank you. Nothing in other, nothing in items in review, and I need motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And nays? We are adjourned.
I'd like to call to order the Special Planning, Building, and Zoning Committee. May we have your roll call, please?
Chairman Stanton?
Present.
Vice Chairman Arnett?
Present.
Trustee Mills?
Present.
Trustee Newell?
Present.
Trustee Palafis?
Present.
Trustee Gata?
Present.
Mayor McLeod?
Present.
We do have a quorum. We have one item under new business, and that's a request by Rick E. Heidner, doing business as 2595 West Golf LLC, for a resolution supporting a Cook County Class 7C classification for property tax assessment purposes for the site located at the southeast corner of Golf Road and Barrington Road.
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. Kevin?
I can answer some questions. This is, the 7C is pretty similar to the 6B in terms of tax structure. It's just 5 years instead of 12. You might remember we granted a 7C for our recommendation for approval to the county board for the Ace Hardware property, for the property across the street to the north of this one, the Ricky Rockets, that's getting pretty close to opening. If you haven't driven by, it looks really nice. So I can ask a couple more questions. Petitioner is here if you want to ask anything of them as well.
How long does it take for Cook County to assess this and then get back to us as far as whether they're granting it or not?
Typically, I mean, similar to our meetings, just when their meetings fall, when we approve the resolution, when they get the application in, it's, maybe a month and a half, 2 months, could be up to 3 months.
Okay. Anyone else with any other questions up here? Yes, Carrie.
I'd just like to tell Mr. Heidner, I think it's great that our location's going to open before his Palatine location, because we're so much better to work with. That's all.
Okay. Anyone else? Anybody from the audience? All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. We are adjourned.
I closed the board meeting packet. What was I thinking? Thought we were done. Oh, I have it. It's right here. Hi, Jen.
Carrot. Again, to reestablish quorum.
Trustee Gata. Trustee Arnett.
Present.
Trustee Mills. Present. Trustee Newell.
Present.
Trustee Palafis.
Present.
Trustee Stanton.
As Karen Mills said earlier, still here.
Mayor McLeod.
Present. Okay, we already took care of the roll call and the Pledge of Allegiance. We go to item number 3, recognition to the audience. We have a couple of folks that have been sitting here very patiently for a long time. You got the floor. We need your name and address for the record.
I just want to offer up this to any kind I don't have enough to go around.
Okay.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to address you.
Sure.
The microphone, please.
Sorry. My name is Scott Gilbert. This is my wife, Doreen.
1850 Nicholson, right next to the railroad tracks.
Many of you may know, Canadian National is petitioning the Army Corps of Engineers to add a second track to the already single track that goes just east of the Deer Crossing subdivision. I want to thank the mayor for the letters that he's written to the Army Corps. I've also talked to Mr. Norris on an occasion too, and I appreciate those opportunities to discuss that with you. The reason we're here today is that we need to come to like an understanding where the city is as far as this potential construction by Canadian National. We're not really clear on that. We have a number of villages that we've been talking with and subdivisions We have representatives as a group. We meet regularly to try to continue to formulate our plans and how we're going to work with Canadian National. So far, Canadian National doesn't want to work with us. They look at it as a right-of-way. If you look at the plans there, it's almost 4.5 miles from Shoe Factory Road down to Spalding in Bartlett. And what that means is they're adding a second track through all that, and they're going to the west side of the existing track, which means that goes right into the subdivisions. And in that report that I handed out to people, it identifies the fact that they are going to just greatly disrupt the neighborhoods. They're going to dig trenches, remove hundreds of trees all the way down to Spalding. They're going to reroute waterways, and that's why the Army Corps is involved. There will be some land seizures through the eminent domain. Many of the people that are along that route that's even outside of the jurisdiction of Hoffman Estates they didn't know about it, and there's even a company called Safety Clean where this expansion is going to go right through their parking lot, and they had no idea of what was going on. I talked with the fire department. The gentleman's not here at one point, that they were unaware of this was going on. So Canadian National has not done a good job alerting the village, the cities involved, what it's going to do to their traffic, what it's going to do to the safety issues. As this first page identifies, and I'll wrap this up, but the trains are going to go 20% faster. This is CN telling us this. Their trains will be longer in length. There's going to be 30% more train traffic. And I talked about the rerouting of everything as far as all the waterways. There's already a lot of flooding that goes along the back of the Deer Crossing subdivision to the east side. I can't speak to the other villages that are along the way there. There's significant noise, and they're adding more track and more switch tracks when you go across the tracks. And that's the clickety-clack noise that is extraordinarily loud. And then they're also building another idling location at the south corner of Deer Crossing subdivision. There's already one right at Shoe Factory Road, just north of Shoe Factory Road. Very loud. The engines run for 5, 6, 8, 10, 12 hours while the crew goes to the Red Roof Inn and goes to sleep for 6, 7, 8 hours because federal law says they can't drive that long. So there's, on the plans, Canadian National won't admit to it, but you can read the plans, they're going to be parking more trains there. So on either side of our subdivision, we're going to have engines sitting there idling for hours and hours and hours on end with extra noise, extra air pollution. We've talked to a number of political offices, Raja, we've talked...
Senator Castro.
Senator Castro, we've had contact with Senator Durbin and Tammy Duckworth. We've tried to get a number of influential individuals involved writing letters and trying to make Canadian National understand that this is not a slam dunk. But one of the things we really need is, and the people in the neighborhood, is we are part of this group called FAIR. So it's Families Against Railway Expansion. And and this is the truth, the people have asked, where does the city of Hoffman Estates stand on this? And I can't answer that question. I can say I've talked to Mr. Norris. I can say that the mayor has written some letters, and we greatly appreciate that. But we need to have a point person, that somebody that says they represent the city or the village of Hoffman Estates, that will help us in our effort to show Canadian National that we are not laying down and letting them rip holy heck out of our neighborhood, and they will. They're going to tear down trees. They're going to bring all sorts of earth-moving materials all along the back of our subdivision to dig up and retrench. There's a tributary that goes along there, and there's a whole bunch of issues about flooding and track washout conditions that I won't get into because it's highly technical. But we need to know where the village stands on this, and we hope that we can get a permanent representative from the group here that could be our point person. We're also dying for legal representation. I mean, we're trying to collect money for retainers. We're working with a law office in Washington, D.C. that is familiar with railroad situations like this when they expand and get involved with neighborhoods and things like that. So I leave it that. We've had a number of meetings with all sorts of representatives, and I didn't hand that out or anything, but this, so list of all the meetings we've had with a whole number of village representatives and politicians, and as many people as will basically be influential and help us in our efforts. But once again, we need to understand, where is Hoffman Estates in this position? And we also appreciate the transportation, Mike Hankey and his guys, been very great answering questions and showing us permit plans and all sorts of stuff too, but they're really not taking a role in this at all either. So I don't know if this is an opportunity to open up a discussion or just put it on the minutes or revisit it again, but right now we're waiting for the Army Corps to make a decision. And once the Army Corps makes a decision, if they say yes to Canadian National, then that means we have to get more into a legal position to appeal that. And either way, we're trying still to collect money for legal fees, which is very difficult. You know, everybody's against something, but they never want to give money to help make it happen. So, I mean, if there was even an opportunity to tap into something as far as any kind of legal fund support, that would be superb as well. Are there any questions?
Anybody have any questions up here? Trustee Palafis.
I guess I have one or two. Do we have any, I mean, if we did hold a position as a governing body, do we actually have the ability to hold a position?
Sure, you have the ability to hold a position. We have kind of, as a staff and a mayor, taken a position, and our comments and questions probably hint around it. We're hoping to get answers, as you are. And I got an email today from, at 11:26, that the Army Corps has granted the CN another extension till September 15th.
Yes, that's true.
And who knows if that will be long enough, but we've, from the beginning, said that it's obviously not going to be a village decision, and even in trying to get our own bike path across underneath the underpass on I-90, CN has not done anything, but we don't want it on the eastern side of the tracks next to the residents. We much prefer if the Federal Surface Transportation Board ultimately approves it if the Army Corps approves it, that it be as far away from the residents as possible. We raised all the issues that you've already talked about with the flooding and removal of trees and those type of things. And even when in a conversation with Tammy Duckworth's staff and Raja's staff said that we thought that there should be additional sound attenuation if it's going to move towards approval.
I think we can take a formal position, though. I felt that we have, actually,
Yeah.
but we haven't done a resolution.
Well, the village helped support our position when they originally sold from EJ&E to CN, and then I think the village then helped mediate the money, the funds that went to better windows and insulation,
We
things
ran
like
that program.
Right.
And that was a great thing. I mean, and I'm not asking for that same position from the village, but I am asking for maybe a little more involvement and effort and a point person.
My questions are getting there, if I could finish really quick. Number two, is it going through the EDA?
Pardon me?
Will it go through Prairie Stone, the second track?
No.
No, it stops just at
It starts at Shoe Factory Road and goes
And
south.
So it doesn't enter the EDA whatsoever?
No.
No.
Because my question was going to be, could we use some of the funds, because if we take a position, then we legally take a position, could we use some of those EDA funds for the
No,
legal positions?
because they're capital only.
Gotcha.
So-
Taking a legal position, and I'm sorry to take all your time, taking a legal position then helps get CN to realize that we are very serious and we're going to delay this and that we want to go into mediation, which means we do want them to give us some funding for when they break something when they're doing all this and before the construction starts so people can do things to their homes to improve them so it would help reduce the amount of impact. And that's one effort that would greatly help if there was an opportunity for funds for legal.
Why don't we put it on the agenda for the next meeting, a resolution formally opposing it? And,
Do you want to put it on transportation's next meeting?
Pardon me?
Yes, please.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
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 Oh, okay. Well, you
I
said the
can,
next
I can
meeting.
supply a
didn't-
lot more
Which would be,
details.
you'd have
and
to go through
information.
transportation.
Right.
That's only a week away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really think it's important that we get more information.
And I can provide so much data and information that would be,
I would like to have the opportunity to talk with, Mike Hankey has kind of been our quasi-technical lead, and he's
Yes.
been.
Yeah,
And I know he's had more conversations with different office holders' staffs, and I'm not up to speed with that, and I would like to get up to speed with that, and then bring it back to a committee meeting.
That'd be good.
One of the things I'm really concerned about is when the village board takes a position, we need to make sure that it's a position that we have a legitimate chance of. We can say we're going to be against it, or you can say we can do like we did the first time around and get the noise mitigation funds.
right.
I'd like to hear back we've talked to some of the government affairs people from the CN, and right now they've given us no hints, nothing.
As well as
And
us too.
what that leads us to believe is that they fully believe ultimately they're going to get Army Corps permission, and they're going to just ram it down everybody's throats.
Yes.
Okay, which is what the railroads have done for centuries.
Yeah.
So let us gather some information, we'll bring it back.
Next transportation, September 9th.
I saw one on the August 26th.
I don't think we have a meeting.
August 27th? Nope, sorry,
No, we
sorry,
don't
you're
have a
right.
meeting.
You're right. I saw an agenda meeting, was one of my look, it says,
Yeah.
If anybody has any questions about this, in the meantime, on the last page, there's our
absolutely. We can
contact
do that.
information.
Yeah.
We can meet that date, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
We really feel this would be a huge, huge issue if it went in. As it was happening, I'm sure that your phones would be ringing with people very upset.
Has the city of Elgin taken a formal position?
They have not. There are subdivisions that go along that 4.5 miles.
And then we have Hanover Township, Tom Kutenberg, he's been attending the meetings, and he's, directly involved. He's being the liaison to Senator Castro, and then Congressman Raja and Duckworth and Durbin, yeah.
Okay.
Super.
Mr. Norris, if the Army Corps says no, is it kill it?
That's an interesting
No,
question.
what usually happens is, what I was explained is that they say no with conditions.
Right.
And then CN comes back and then tries to fulfill whatever the issues are, and then they resubmit. And what we're trying to do is show them that they need to be a better neighbor to us than than they have been. They just basically stonewall us every inch of the way because they have the right-of-way. And we really need them to see us in numbers. I think it was a great meeting we had on May 28th, and we had a lot of people there, and thank you, Mayor, for being there, really appreciate that. And you could see how upset the people were. That's a couple of hundred people that were there that were very upset about that. And that was just in the Hoffman Estates area. I mean, we
Right.
didn't tell the people all the way down towards Bartlett that we were having this meeting. So this was more of a Hoffman Estates kind of meeting. And there's a lot of people upset about this. So we really, really appreciate any kind of support and help you guys can give us, including if there's any legal or legal funds that you can help us with, as we're trying to collect money for retainers, legal retainers. So thank you.
Thank you.
Unless you have any other questions, Doreen, did you?
Any other questions? Nope.
So
Thank you
next
for being so
meeting,
patient.
September 9th here?
Is it the
Well,
9th?
they have your name and address, so we'll make sure
Yes,
you're
we-
notified.
Sure you're notified.
Here.
Yeah. If it doesn't get to that point, for sure, they'll let you know one way or another.
So somebody will be in contact with us.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. I
Thank you
really do
very much.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
It is September 9th, and it will be September 9th.
Well, as long as you can get your stuff together for that.
By that time, absolutely.
Okay,
If anybody has questions about this, please call.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Move on to item 4, approval of the minutes of the August 5th, 2019 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to second. Any questions or concerns on the minutes?
I think
I'll
we had
take it.
enough. Oh,
We're-
yeah.
okay.
No, Gary wants to know.
You sold me.
Thank you. There's a motion, a second. There's no questions. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have a motion carried. Moving on to item number 5, consent agenda. Is there a motion?
So
I'll
moved.
second.
There's a motion, a second. There's 2 items on the consent agenda. 1A is approval of the agenda, and B is approval of the schedule of bills for August 19th, 2019, in the amount of $4,689,149.56. There is a motion, a second. Any questions? Can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Mayor McCog.
Aye, motion carried. We took care of proclamations already. I have a couple of announcements. One, happy birthday to Trustee Stanton, coming up on August 22nd.
Thank you.
And I have three appointments to boards and commission. Catherine Whalen to the Arts Commission, Amy Mueller to the Arts Commission, Pat Bodame from the 4th of July Commission. Pat's the representative, will be the new representative of the Park District. Chair would accept a motion.
So moved.
A second.
The motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carried. I have one resignation. That's Canon Ramasamy from the Commission for People with Disabilities. Chair
So
would accept a
moved with
motion.
regrets.
I'll second.
The motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carried. We have a couple of events going on Wednesday, the 22nd. We have Business After Hours at Main Event out west from 5 to 7. And then we have a Code 3 at the Moon Lake Fire Station for the fire on Glen Lake at 7 p.m. on August 22nd. We have Wine Wednesday will be coming up at the Saddle Room at 2599 Pratum Avenue from 5:30 to 7:30 on Wednesday, August 28th. Everyone is welcome, and as always, we collect items for our local food depositories. Join us for food and conversation. The village is celebrating its 60th birthday this year, and the 60th Anniversary Commission has been organizing a community-wide picnic will be held on Saturday, September 21st. The event will offer free parking and free admission, will be held indoors at the Sears Center Arena from 11:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. A host of fun activities including music, children's games, inflatables, a ball drop, food, and lots of prizes from local businesses are being planned. Save the date and join us. We have, 3 members of the commission on this podium here. Trustees Mills and Arnett, and the village clerk, Bev Romanoff. So thank you for all your efforts on that. We haven't met in a couple weeks, so there are some items to go through, I guess. On Tuesday, August 6th, we had our Celtic Fest Commission meeting. And later that evening, we had National Night Out in front of our police building. Nice job on that event, Chief Boss. And on Thursday, the 8th, we had our 4th of July Commission meeting. And the 4th of July plans are already being worked on for next year. On Saturday, August 10th, we had the Disability Services Summer Celebration at the Schaumburg Township. That was a very good event. We had 2 block parties, one on Concord and one on Harvard Lane. And on August 15th, we had the Bell Works presentation. This was a BizNow Chicago event, repositioning and adaptive reuse of buildings. And Mr. Norris spoke at that, as did Ralph Zucker, who was the head of Somerset. It was very interesting. They had 3 very good panels, and it was very, very informative. Friday the 16th, I called in on a mass shooting response prep put out by the Conference of Mayors, and on that evening, attended the Federation of Indian Associations 10th Anniversary Gala, also celebrating the 73rd year of independence for India. And on Saturday 17th, everybody was busy. I rode in the Special Olympics truck convoy with Ralph from our Public Works Department, and other folks were working on the recycling and document destruction event the Park District put on. And then we had 5 block parties, one on Amherst, one on Northview, one on Lafayette, one on Swindon, and one on Dixon. And then yesterday, the 18th, we had the Beth Tikva Congregation Annual Picnic and Lobby Dedication. Beth Tikva's been part of the community since before Hoffman Estates existed. It was founded in 1957, so it's been in our community for a very long time. And this evening, we had a little celebration of Trustee Stanton's birthday, so we know we'll have a rocking good time on Thursday. And of course, Plaffers will be coming to your party on Thursday, as you well know.
I will. Invited or not.
There's no party.
Okay, we'll see.
When Plaffers shows up, there's a party. Come
I'm
on.
calling Rita right after this.
Okay, let's go to trustee comments. Starting with Trustee Stanton.
Thank you. On the 6th of August, I was able to attend the National Night Out at the police station, and it was well attended by everyone. On the, I was gone up from the 8th until the 12th for family wedding out in Lake Tahoe, and so I was not involved with any of the events on that period of time. But on the 17th, I was able to attend the Special Olympics truck convoy, and then I was involved with the 5 different block parties on that same day in the afternoon. And yesterday, I was also able to attend the Beth Tikva Congregation Annual Picnic and Lobby Dedication. That's it.
Thank you. Trustee Arnett.
Thank you. On August 6th, I also attended the National Night Out for a little bit, and it was a great turnout, great weather. On the 8th, I did stop by the concert with the Piano Man, and it was jam-packed. Also, on the 10th, I attended the 2 block parties that we had. On the 17th, I did attend the Special Olympics Truck Convoy, and it was really nice event. My compliments to the Special Olympics organization and also Sergeant John Bending for doing such a good job. And happy birthday to Gary Stanton.
Thank you. Trustee Mills.
Well, short and sweet. On the 6th, I was at National Night Out, and as everybody's saying, the police department did a superb job, and everybody there seemed to be having a great time, including the officers. On the 9th, we had a retirement luncheon for one of our police officers, Kurt Gerlach, and we'll miss him. He's put in a lot of great years for the village. We wish him well in his new career. Was out of town this weekend because of family things going on, so I'm sorry I missed everything. Sounds like everybody had a great time. And happy birthday to Trustee Stanton.
I'm going to have to keep saying thank you. Is that it?
No.
Why don't I just say thank you to all of you for the birthday wishes, and that'll be the end of it.
You could do it each one as they wish it.
You should have went
Okay by
last,
us.
but
All right.
Trustee Mills, did you bring any of those great meatballs your family makes
They're
back?
all
with
in
you?
the freezer for our Labor Day reunion.
Okay, well, that's a good cause.
Thank you.
Trustee Palafis.
thank you for allowing me access to Trustee Stanton's birthday. I'm not doing anything Thursday night, so if something does come about, I am
plans
there.
with somebody else.
No more Thursday concerts.
That's right. I'll be that guy at the table. Anyway, I just wanted to say I love meetings like tonight. I love our community. I visited like 3 or 4 of those residents, the ones that were most active on posting and everything Hoffman, which I just think is the greatest thing about media nowadays. And some of them were shocked. I'd stick out my hand, "Hi, I'm Gary Flavis," and they're like, "Yeah, I know who you are." Just to kind of get them talking. They'll say different things to you at their door than they really say here, which is hard to believe because they said almost everything tonight.
They weren't bashful.
No, they weren't. But I would thank the doctor for reuniting Parcel A in a brand new way since 1955, because he's definitely done that. But it's good to see, our residents that come out for things that are really close to heart for them. I carpooled with the mayor for the flag block parties, and again, it's great to see all the neighbors in the different neighborhoods, the way they celebrate, the food they have and the activities the kids do, and it's just a great way to tap into them, in terms of the community that they build and the different types of community they build. It's great having the fire and police there. And as soon as you guys arrive, we have to leave because everybody's like, "Oh, it's time for you to go," because the real fun stuff's here. And not only, are we normally one-upped, but the canine officer came, which has the dog and the tennis ball, so you just can't beat, that duo. I wanted to bring up one thing for Chief Buss. There's a new crew that is directing the Sears Center traffic outside of the arena. I think they do a great job, but some of the suite holders have approached me that they're having a tough time getting into, they have the parking passes, into the suite holder lot. They kind of get directed towards Tate and Lyle and stuff, and it's bumming them out. Anyway, I don't know if you and Ben or whoever, I know it used to be Carl, I don't know who is now, maybe could have a meeting, and figure out what we could do for suite holders, because they are our creme de la creme, in terms of people that buy those suites. But other than that, great job. I just wanted to bring that up because I just thought of it now. And then happy birthday to Trustee Stanton again.
Thank you, again.
Trustee Newell.
Okay, mine's, I think, the shortest of all. I was unable to attend some of the events, but I'm glad the rest of our team was able to. And happy birthday, haha, I said it, Trustee Stanton.
Thank you. Newell.
Trustee Gata.
Here we go. On August 6th, of course, we attended the National Night Out at the Hoffman Estates Police Department. And you know what? I think that was a great idea by having it at the police station instead of having it at 4, 5, or 6 different locations. I think it was easier for people to come to one location instead of trying to get all over. And you guys always do a good job. And then after I left that, I came here for a senior citizens meeting at the Village Hall. Then on Saturday, the 10th, Disability Services Summer Celebration, which was held at the Schaumburg Township, and Mayor McLeod attended with me, and there's always a good attendance. Then from there, we went to the block party on 803 Concord Cove. Then on Saturday, the 17th, we started at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we finished at about 5:30 or as close to 6 o'clock that night. And we started off with the Special Olympics truck convoy at the Sears Center, and there was over 100 trucks. In fact, there was 108 trucks that they were counting. And thank you to Sergeant John Betting. He does an excellent, excellent job of organizing that event. And then also I attended the recycling document destruction event at Public Works. And when I got there, they about maybe 9:30 or so like that, and they said you should have been here earlier because they were all coming before 9 o'clock, and in an hour and a half or so, right, almost half of them went through. And again, organizing, I think his name is Kevin. Kevin, he did an excellent job of organizing that also. Thank you. And then we went to 5 block parties, and I'm not going to, as far as where they're located. And then on Sunday, the 18th, Beth Tikva Congregation Annual Picnic and the dedication, which is 300 Hillcrest Boulevard. And happy birthday to Trustee Stanton.
Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome.
Tell everybody how many hot dogs you had at the picnic there.
Hey, well, you know what? At least I had yours, too, since you didn't have one, right? And the mayor, but he had his own. So I only got a couple that day. It's a good thing you weren't there. I'd get yours, too. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to 6C, Village Manager's Report.
Thank you, Mayor. Just, today must have been a day for getting good information. I'm happy to report that our Health and Human Services Department received a notification from the APA today that the accreditation they've been working for a couple of years was granted. They're now an accredited agency. Not only they're accredited, it is extremely unusual for a first-time applicant to get the maximum number of years, which they did at 10 years. So congratulations to Monica and her team. Monica, you got to quit hiding behind the pillar. But great job, and they do an awesome service for our community.
I should go wish Trustee Stanton happy birthday.
I got the sense that he was kind of tired of that.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay, 6D, Village Clerk's Report.
Normally I say no report, but happy birthday, Gary.
Thank you, Bev.
Okay, we're now going to go down to additional business, 8.
Earlier, we had deferred 8C, but we don't need to defer 8C.
No.
Typically, the board doesn't do that until they approve their plat and their site plan.
Oh, okay. So you still want to pull it? Okay, so it's still pulled. Well, I will make a motion to approve by omnibus votes 8A, B, D, E, F.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second on an omnibus vote. Any discussion on that? Seeing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it, motion carried.
Now I'll make the actual motion to approve.
I'll second.
The motion is second to approve. The items on additional business include request board approval of an ordinance amending section 8-3-22, number of licenses of Article 3 alcoholic liquors of the Hoffman Estates Municipal Code, increase in number Class A licenses, June's Hoffman Estates LLC, 2588 West Gulf Road. This matter was dealt with earlier at the Liquor Commission. B, request board approval of an ordinance authorizing amendments to the 2019 budget ordinance. D is request board authorization to award contract to Webmark Doors, South Elgin, Illinois, to replace doors at the Sears Center Arena in an amount not to exceed $38,412. E, request board approval of the locations for the 2019 drainage improvement project. F, request board authorization to award contract for the abandonment of Well 9 to Water Well Solutions, low bid, Elburn, Illinois, in an amount not to exceed $98,309, and rejection of all bids for demolition of the above-ground facility at Well 9 site. G, request board authorization to award contract for engineering services for relocation, replacement of 60-inch water transmission mains along Huntington Road between Montank Road and Lakewood Boulevard to H.R. Green, McHenry, Illinois, low qualified proposal, in an amount not to exceed $62,904.
Mayor, that was F, not G. We don't have a G.
Oh, that was F, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Just for the record. Everybody's looking
Thank
for
you.
a
We're
G.
all like, gee, what happened?
I've
I
got
have the
two,
electronic version. I'm like,
It
it's
was a
old.
test to see if we were still awake.
Right.
I have two different agendas. One has a G and one doesn't have a G. One ends with F, one ends
We
with G.
don't have the G.
That's right. We're G-less.
Okay.
Okay, so we're G-less. Okay,
Got 2 agendas.
yeah. Now I have a G, yeah.
Yeah.
You do have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye, motion carried. Chair to accept a motion to adjourn to executive session for which reason?
I'll
Trustee
make a
Mills?
motion, we adjourn into executive session for the reason of review of closed session minutes, 5 ILCS 120/2, C21.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion on this? See no discussion, can you pull the board, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye, motion carried. We adjourned executive session. We will not be coming back out this evening, and it's good to see you, Ken Swain.